Are you looking to move you don't know where to move in Florida? Well, is it Miami, Tampa, Orlando? I don't know. Let's talk about it. What's up, everyone? My name is Cameron Hodge. On this channel, I help you think about making the move to and living in Orlando, Florida, and I absolutely love it. I drop videos for you every single week, and I absolutely love it. But what I love even more, being a licensed real estate agent in the state of Florida, is helping you with the real estate decisions when moving to Orlando, Florida. So this number popping up below is how you can get a hold of me. Call, text, email, does not matter. I'm here to help you in making the move to Orlando, Florida. Now, getting into the meat and bones. This is just a conversation video. You know, if you're looking to make the move to Florida, there's probably at least these three areas are probably on that list when considering it. Miami, Tampa, Orlando. It's kind of like a trifecta, and there's a lot more places in Florida. I'm not discrediting any of them, but this is one that I've seen a lot of people struggle with recently, and I figured I'd talk about it and kind of explain my thoughts when we made the choose and why we chose Orlando, and kind of go from there. So, obviously, if you don't know, obviously Miami is at the southeast tip of the state, Orlando right smack dab in the middle almost, and then Tampa is on the Gulf Coast there in Central Florida. And all three of these places have their own charm and benefits and things like that, but it's like, which one do you choose? Like, when you're looking at them, which one is a better option for you? It's really, it's going to come down to what you know personally. I mean, obviously, if you have a job lined up in one of those locations, that's going to kind of push you in one direction. Maybe you have family in one place. Like, all those are kind of already pulling factors. But if you're like us and you're moving to move out to Florida and you have no family here, you know, it's kind of like, you take a pick. You don't have a job pulling you in one direction. You don't have family pulling you in a direction in Florida. So it's like, where do you go? What do you consider? Well, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. First off, you know, we're going to talk about, like, obviously, I always cover this one. It's hurricanes, right? Generally speaking, Orlando is a little more sheltered to major hurricane damage. Now, so it gets like some tornadoes when hurricanes come through. It gets flooding. It's Florida. You're not going to avoid it, people. But Orlando generally a little more sheltered than a lot of other places directly on the coast. Miami, obviously, being right on the coast, on the Atlantic coast, you're going to get a huge brunt of hurricanes that come through. Tampa, I've heard from locals that it's generally been a lot better than a lot of other places, especially on the Atlantic coast, but it definitely has gotten its fair share of hurricanes over the years and hundreds of years, obviously. But, you know, take that into effect. That's like one of your major concerns about living in Florida. The next thing I think you really need to think about is, and then we thought about as well, is, you know, what are you looking to do when you come here? What do you love to do? This is my experience. Miami is a city. When we came out here and started looking around, like, Miami is definitely, you know, it's a good party city. It's like, people call it like the LA of the East Coast and things like that. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of tech jobs. It's a lot going on, but it's also a lot more expensive comparatively when you look at the overall numbers compared to Tampa or Orlando. And believe it or not, it's generally not ranked at the top relocation cities in Florida. It's up there. Like, it's definitely not the smallest city. Like, it's a big city. A lot of people are moving to Miami, right? But for the average person here in America, like, they're not really going there as much as they are other places. Believe it or not, Tampa, I think last year, in most polls that I see, is like one of the number one relocation cities in Florida, and for good reason, absolutely. But you look at Miami, and it's just like, you know, why you consider Miami? Like, you love clubs and things like that. I can promise you, like, me and my wife, we got kids. I am past that stage. Well, I'm not 30 yet. Look, I do not care about that life. So for us, Miami was easy to write off. I will tell you though, I love fishing off the coast of Miami. Fishing out there, it's great. It's awesome. I mean, there's definitely a lot going on in Miami. But like I said, it's going to command a higher budget to live in nicer areas. So you need to kind of take that into effect. If you love being close to like the wetlands and things like that, hey, that's great, you know? I mean, you're near there, so that's definitely southern Florida. And there's still a lot to offer there. It's not that all areas are expensive down there, not by any means. There's a lot of opportunity. But for me, I think Miami's a little overrated, but maybe you don't. And let me know in the comments below if you think Miami is like the number one spot, and maybe give you some reasons why you're looking at moving there. And I think it help out the rest of the viewers of this video. So moving on to, you know, like Tampa and Orlando, obviously like Central Florida, Southern Florida, big differences there, a lot going on, right? And understand that Central Florida, to me, is, you know, you find a lot more people being laid back. They want to be calmer. They're not looking to do crazy night scenes. Now, don't get me wrong. The sports scene is heavy here just as much as it is in Miami, right? You got the Buccaneers, the Lightning. You have basketball in Orlando, and I always forget what that team is. I just don't watch basketball. We didn't have a professional team in Buffalo, so it's not something I watch. But, there's a lot going on in Tampa and Central Florida as well between both cities. Tampa and Orlando, they're only about an hour and a half apart, and that can fluctuate depending on what part of the city you're in and which one you're going, obviously, but generally that's about the rough rule of thumb. Now, Tampa obviously is on the coast, so you're getting beach life, and you're getting obviously 2 major sports teams in there. You get a lot of cool options for sports. And if that's a big deal for you, then hey, Tampa's a good spot. Personally, we love Tampa. But at the time, we were I think it came down to we love Orlando and Tampa. So this is our area. We love Orlando a lot more, which is why we chose here. I like Orlando because you can still kind of get tucked away. It's the tourist craziness, but at the same time, you can kind of tuck yourself away and have really great community. Tampa has that as well, but personally, until recently, it started to change a little bit. It's pretty much equal across the board. But generally, Tampa was asking for a little bit more home prices overall was in land prices, which is why we kind of differed away from it in the beginning, because it was out of our budget, and we're now the areas we were looking at, it just didn't fit. But if you're someone if you're I'm coming to Florida, I need a beach. Why am I dealing with the heat and humidity if I'm not going to have a beach every day? Hey, I respect that. And you know what? Clearwater, Tampa, it's on the coast. It could be a great option for you, right? Obviously, compared to Miami, it's going to be cheaper living. Orlando and Tampa generally are going to be cheaper living than in Miami. Now, obviously, there are different neighborhoods and areas. Yeah, I get it. But just looking at overall numbers, a little bit cheaper to live. And generally, people seem to say, from my opinion, talking with others who have lived in Miami, moved to Tampa, or they're coming here to Orlando for my clients, is Miami is just, it's not the vibe for anyone. So if you are looking at it, you really got to go down there and visit it. It's cool to visit. Personally, it's just not the scene that we're looking for. Orlando, it's very family oriented. There's a lot to do for the kids, and where we're at in our life, that is what we're looking for. And if I want to go to a sports game, take my boys to a football game, hey, I can drive right over there. Now, obviously, you have the Miami Dolphins in Miami. That's cool, but they're my rivals with the Bills, so why would I want to go down there? I'll go down there eventually. I'll catch a game. But, keep in mind, cost of living, it's generally going to be cheaper here in Central Florida. Now, that being said, there are cheaper places I know in Miami, but overall, they're going to be a little bit more expensive to live down there. Like I said, it is the LA of the East Coast, and especially one of the most expensive cities in Florida. Definitely not the cheapest. Tampa, generally overall, it's a great city to live in. It's overall pretty clean. There's a lot to do. You can always drive into Orlando if you don't want to deal with the touristy crowds. But obviously, you have Clearwater Beach, and that's a big tourist attraction as well in Tampa. But I can tell you, even during rush hour, driving in downtown Tampa, it's one of the better downtowns in terms of traffic hour. I mean, it was traffic to peak getting off work time, and we were driving around the Buccaneer Stadium and really didn't experience much problems. It kind of blew me away. It was during the summer, so I don't know if that makes a difference at that time. But keep in mind, it's one of those things where between those 3 areas, the big decision is between Central Florida and Southern Florida. They have different vibes, different culture, preferences and things like that, things to do. Miami, a lot more party scene. So if you love doing that, hey, that's probably for you. I know there's a lot of tech startups moving to Miami as well, a lot of business opportunities. So that's great. Also, they have some great colleges down there as well. So keep in mind, if that's something you're looking for, that could be the spot. But if you're like me and you have a family and it's really important for you to have a good foundation for your kids, I think Central Florida, it takes it by a mile, by a landslide, right? Now, schools, it's hit and miss, right? There are good schools and bad schools everywhere. It just depends on the city, the town, how they're run, all that junk. But Central Florida really has a lot to offer. Now moving on to Tampa and Orlando. Look, it's different personalities. Tampa, really great family city, feels a lot more permanent, right? In Orlando, is a lot of vacation rentals. People seem more, they fluctuate from the season. A lot of tourists because of Disney World and things like that. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of homesteading culture in between both cities. So keep in mind, that's the cool thing about Tampa and Orlando, is that's why I tell people you have so much options here. No matter what your budget is or what you're looking for, there's a lot of options. You might not just get your top neighborhood because of your income or maybe certain things. But overall, if you're looking to farm, still options here. I've seen a lot of people that homestead between Tampa and Orlando, right in between. You have Lakeland, improving city in a lot of ways. Definitely got a lot of crap for a long time. But Polk County overall, it's slowly improving in a lot of ways, so you have to give it credit. But like that, those are the options you have in Central Florida. And I think it's a great place for family. You really just kind of have to decide, like, do you want Tampa, like more permanent feeling, or do you like kind of like what Orlando has to offer? You really have to weigh out. If you really don't care about a beach, Orlando might be a solid option for you. But if you need a beach, I'm like, don't even worry about it. Tampa's going to be for you, because obviously Orlando doesn't have beaches, it has lakes, but you got to deal with alligators, so keep that in mind. Like, that's kind of the trade-off, at least the salt water over there, it might have some sharks, but it's not going to have any alligators. Obviously, though, one thing actually is, and one downfall of Tampa in that area is we are in Sinkhole Alley. If you don't know, there's sinkholes, so there's a lot of limestone in Florida, and limestone is water soluble. So as water soaks into the ground, the limestone dissolves, and then you get a sinkhole. The ground just falls out. It happens all the time, and half of Orlando, and pretty much all of Orlando is in some kind of zone, but definitely half of Orlando to Tampa up the coastline towards the Panhandle, Sinkhole Alley. And it doesn't mean you're going to buy a home with a sinkhole, but it is a thing where a lot of sinkholes occur in this area, and that's definitely a negative hit. Miami, not as red flagged on that. Now, no matter where you live in the United States, sinkholes exist for one reason or another. They happen, right? Here in Florida, it just says that during that alley, there's just a lot of sinkholes that happen. So that's a negative on living here in Central Florida. And if that's something that really concerns you, at least hurricanes, you can see them coming, right? So if that's something that really bothers you, this might not be the place, to be honest with you. Also, generally, Miami probably, it's all hot down here, but Miami probably gives you more of a tropical feel than I'd say than Central Florida. But personally, like, I love being tucked away and kind of like away from people, but still near cities. And like Central Florida, it definitely wins in that front, in my opinion. When we travel down to Miami and like experience that, it's just it's for certain people, and you really have to visit it to really kind of get an idea if that's what you want. Personally, way too many people. Unfortunately, obviously, if you don't like people, Central Florida is getting populated as well. But there's still opportunities to kind of get like that small town vibe, even though you're pretty close to major amenities, hospitals, things like that. That's what I think Orlando, Florida definitely comes on top at. But overall, you got to figure out where you want to live. You're going to have to travel to all of these places, and you're really going to have to get an idea. And nothing says that if you move to one of these three areas that you can't choose another one down the road. Things change, your needs change, your goals change, and you have to decide where you want to live. But the biggest first thing is like, where can you get a job? Make sure you get money. Or if you're starting a business, whichever it may be, cost of living, weigh all those initial factors in and just get out here. If you already know Florida is the place, look, there's nothing wrong with just getting out here and getting established and then looking at the next step. Trust me, it's okay to change, right? Like, I tell people happen all the time. They come out here and like, hey, 2 years down the road, hey, Cameron, like, I'm happy I moved here, but I think we want to move over here. I totally respect that. Who knows? Maybe within the next 10 years, we might be in the same boat. Who knows? Life changes, and that's okay. But understand that between all these three areas, you're going to have to do your own research. I hope this gave you some insight into some like the overall pros and cons between all three of these places. But if you're looking to know more and just have an in-depth conversation about which one probably is best for you, hey, this number popping up below is how you can get a hold of me. Call me, text me, email me. I do not care. I'm always here for you every day of the week. Happy to talk with you about it, create that plan for you to get you out here to have a better life, which I know is what we all want. So hope you got value in this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.